Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you so much for joining me. In this video, I'll be making a slimline card that's donut themed, and this is perfect for your Valentine's Day cards or any love you cards. You can also use this set for birthday cards. So here's a look at the stamp set. This stamp set is from Simon Says Stamp. It's called A Glazing Day. It has 6 donuts. There are 2 heart-shaped donuts, and then there are 4 round-shaped donuts, and then there's another small, looks like maybe a brownie or a little piece of cake with some frosting, and several sentiments. Some of the sentiments are, I adore you a whole lot, sending lots of love, you're so sweet, have a sweet day, I love you, have a sweet Valentine's Day, have a glazing birthday, so you can use this for all different occasions. There's also a coordinating die set available for this set, which I do not have, but I will have links to all of these products down in the description box. I'm also bringing in the new Simon Says Stamp Love Ya word die. This die was designed by Kathy Zilski for Simon Says Stamp, and it's part of their brand new Kisses release. So I'll be using that in my project. So I went ahead and stamped out all of the donuts on this set, and I'm going to color them up with my Copic markers. This is something that I haven't done in a while. I have been using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens to do watercoloring, but I thought I'd go ahead and take out my Copic markers and do some Copic coloring. These are alcohol-based markers, and when I color with alcohol markers, I like to stamp the images out onto the Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth cardstock with Memento Tuxedo black ink. So for the actual cake part of the donut, I'm coloring all of them up the same way. I use the E37, which is the darkest color on the edge closest to the frosting, so it looks like there's a shadow underneath that frosting. Then I went over that with the E35, and now I'm finishing up with the E34. So I colored both of those donuts identical, and I do come in with a second coat of the E37 just to make that a little bit darker, and then I'm just going to come back in with the E34, which is the lightest color, just to blend the dark into the light. Some of the donuts I'm going to have the lighter brown for the cake part, and some I'm going to have the darker brown. And this heart-shaped donut, I'm using the darker brown. So my darkest color is E49, which I'm coloring all along the edge as well as in some of the corners of that donut. And then I'm going to come in with the E47 and just go over that dark, and then also color up a little more of the white area, and then I'll finally come in with my lightest in that color group, which is the E44, and I'll finish coloring the rest of the white area. Okay, I'm going to use those same colors for this next donut with the curvy frosting, and I'm doing it the same way I colored the one right to the left of that. So starting out with the darkest color, E49, right on the edge of the frosting, so it looks like there's a shadow, followed by E47 and E44. And I forgot to color the inside part of the donut earlier, so I'm going to come back and use the same colors that I used on the cake part of that donut and color the inside part. So here's a little closer look, coloring with the darkest color along the edge, and then coming in with the midtone and the light as well. I'm going to color this little shaped donut or piece of cake with my darkest, again, all the same colors that I used in the previous, coming in with the midtone and then filling it in with the light. I will have a list of all of the colors that I use in the description box below, as well as on my blog. So for my donuts, I decided that I wanted to use 3 different colors, actually 4 different colors for my main color scheme. So I'm bringing in teals, I'm bringing in reds, purples, and pinks. I thought that that color combination would look perfect for a Valentine's Day card, and those are all some of my favorite colors when coloring with Copic markers. So here I'm using some teal colors. This is the blue-green family of Copic markers. The BG49 is the darkest color, which I colored along the inside of that donut. Then I also have BG15, BG13, and BG11, which will come all the way to the edge. So this donut is going to be a teal donut, or the teal frosting, and then I'm going to have the hearts in red. I think the teal and the red go really, really well together. So I'm coloring the underneath part of the heart in my darkest red, which is R29. That's where the shadow is. And then I'm going to come in with the R27 along the left side of the heart and a little bit at the top of the right part of the heart. I'm going to do that for all of the hearts, and then I'll come in and blend that with R24 and then fill it in with the R22. For the donut below that one, I will be using some purples. So I'm going to start out with the V17 along the edge of the donut frosting. That is my darkest color, and I'll also add it to the edge of the center. Then I'm going to come in with my V15, which you can't see that. I actually have it off the screen there at the top. Sorry about that. But I'm going to go over that dark and extend that color a little bit more. And then I'm going to come in with the V12 and I'm going to blend it all together with my V12, which is the lightest purple. For the hearts on this purple donut, I am coloring one side of them with the RV6, and then I'm going to finish up the coloring with the RV2. My next donut is going to have pink frosting, so I'm going to color in the darkest pink along the edges. And that's going to be the RV6, just coming right along the edges of that strip of frosting. And then I'm going to come in with my RV4 to blend that in with more of that white area. And then I'm going to finish up by coloring over the rest of the donut frosting with the lightest pink, which is the RV2. And then for the frosting stripe, I'm going to color that with red using all of the same reds that I used in the previous images. So I have my R29 as my dark. I'm going to use the R22, so I'm going to fill that in with the lightest color, and then I'll come back in with another color to blend that dark and the light. So I think I'm going to come in here with the I think it's the 24 that I'm using just to blend those two colors together. Using the same red markers, I'm going to color in the frosting on this heart-shaped donut. So coloring with the R29 all along the edge. Then I'm going to come in with the R27 a little bit over that dark red and expand that color out more towards the center. Next, I'm going to come in with the R24. And I'm going to color over the R27 and bring it a little bit more towards the center, and then I'll finish up with the R22. This red color combination is my favorite red because I think it's a true red. It's the really nice color red that you would use for Christmas, or in this case for Valentine's Day. I really love this color combo. I'm going to color all of those sprinkles up with the same colors I used on the previous donut. So I have RV6 for some of the hearts and some of the sprinkles. I also have BG15 that I'm going to use for some of them. And then I'm going to finish up the rest with the V15, which is the purple. And I'm not doing any blending. I'm just doing one color on all of those sprinkles. Next, I'm going to use my blue greens for this love donut, starting with the BG49 along the edge, coming in with the BG15 over top of that and extending a little bit more towards the center, followed by BG13. And then the middle part of that donut and blending it all together will be the BG11. And then the word love on top of that donut, I'll be coloring up with one red marker. I'm not going to do any blending with that just because of how little and thin those letters are. So I'm going to use the R27 to color those up. And then with this donut here at the top, I'm coloring this up pink. So coloring the darkest pink, which is the RV6 along the edge, followed by the RV04. And then I'm going to finish up with the RV02. So a lot of the coloring is the same, just putting the darkest along the edge, followed by the mid-tone, and followed by the lightest color towards the center to blend the rest out. And then for all the little toppings, the sprinkles that are on that donut, again, I'm just using all of the same colors that I used in the other donut. So we'll do some purples. We'll also do some reds and then some teals for the toppings. And since these sprinkles are a little bit larger, I do come in with multiple colors to bring out some shading in those colors. So I think I used 2 red markers on the red hearts and 2 of the blue-green markers on the teal hearts. And then for this last image, I am going to use the reds for the frosting as well as the blue-green for the little line that's going through the frosting. So I do want to mention that there are dies that you can use to cut these out. I will end up cutting these out with my scissors because I don't have the dies. And I also want to mention that if you have the dies, I believe that the dies actually cut out the centers, but because I did not have the dies, I just used my scissors and I didn't want to have to deal with trying to get a circle out of the center. So my centers do remain white. Next, I wanted to add some sparkle to my donuts, so I'm using the Nuvo glitter drops in the silver Moondust. Just put some here on a piece of cardstock and taking a paintbrush and just painting them on the sprinkles. Now you can do it this way like I'm doing by just putting some on a cardstock, picking them up with a paintbrush and painting them on. Or you can also just take your Nuvo drops directly to the paper and put a little bit inside and then just use your paintbrush to move that around on the cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of my donuts. Here I'm just adding a drop to the center of the hearts and then I'm just going to rub it in, and you can see all that really pretty glitter and shine that these Nuvo drops add. Here I'm just tracing it along this red piece of glaze or frosting. And if you want, you can take your paintbrush and you can rub that in, or you can leave it a thick line like it comes out as. I'm going to do the same thing here for the word love. I'm also going to add some at the bottom and then just rub that in. Now this is a wet embellishment, so it is wet when you initially put it on your cardstock. You'll just have to let your images sit and dry, and it does not take that long at all to dry, especially because you're thinning it out with the paintbrush. Now for this donut, I'm actually applying a little bit thicker of the Nuvo glitter drops. So because it's a thicker amount, it may take a little bit longer to dry than the ones where I just spread it out with the paintbrush. So I'm going to go ahead and let these sit and dry while I work on the card background. I'm using a Slimline die from Pinkfresh Studio. This is the Slim Diagonal Stitched Plaid background. I've already die cut it on some white cardstock. You can see that beautiful design into the cardstock, and I'm going to do some ink blending on this design. So I have some pink inks. I'm putting the Distress Oxide Kitsch Flamingo along the edges of my cardstock, and then I'm going to come in with the lighter pink, which is the Spun Sugar, and blend the darker pink ink with the lighter pink ink and extend the lighter pink a little bit more towards the center. I am not inking the entire piece of cardstock, so the inside center will still be white. I'm just putting a little bit of pink along the edges. Next, I'm using the Pinkfresh Studio Stitched Scallop Rectangle die set. It comes with 2 dies, but I'm only showing you 1 die here. And I die cut it with some white cardstock, and this 1 die will give me 2 different pieces. It gives me an outside scalloped edge and also an inside scalloped edge, which I'm only going to be using the outside edge on my project today. So this inside piece I'm going to set aside, and I'm going to go ahead and glue down the outside scallop border onto this card front. I could always add the inside piece if I want, but I'm not going to add it. And here's a closer look at that card background. So next I'm going to use the Love Ya die, and I'm going to snip it apart from the shadow, and I'm going to die cut the word with red cardstock, and I'll die cut the shadow with white cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and take out my card background, and I'm going to place my donuts where I want them to go on this card. So I'm going to have 5 donuts off to the right. I'll have 2 donuts on the left side, and then I'll have my sentiment in that open area. So I was going to just use the red by itself with the words, but I think I'm going to go ahead and add it to the shadow. I'm going to go ahead and glue those together, and then I'll add the word directly to the card. Next, I'll glue down all of my donuts, starting with the donuts that are in back and finishing with the donuts that are layered in front. Next, I'll add this layer to a Slimline card base, but I'm not done yet because I do want to add a sentiment on the inside. So I'm going to take out my Sizzix stamp and stencil tool, and I'm going to place my card open onto this tool, and then I'm going to stamp out a sentiment. So the sentiment that I'm going to use is this one that says, "I adore you a whole lot," and the word whole is spelled H-O-L-E, like the donut hole, but I don't need the top part of that sentiment, which is the "I adore you" part. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take some washi tape and I'm going to mask off the top of that sentiment. So I'm just going to tape off the top so that when I ink this up, it only gets ink on the "a whole lot" part of that sentiment. So I'll go ahead and ink that up with some black ink, remove the washi tape. Make sure you remove the washi tape, otherwise you're going to end up with a black splotch on your card, and then stamp that down. So now my card says, "Love ya a whole lot" when you open it up. And then on the inside, I'm going to use this last donut piece that I didn't have room for on the front. And I'm going to finish this up by adding some of these pretty pink Posh clay confetti mix. This is the XOXO mix. And I'm going to add some of the red hearts, some of the teal hearts. And those little teal hearts, they have the word love inside of them. They're super cute. And I'm also going to open this card up, and on the inside I'll add some of the sprinkles on the inside as well. And this confetti mix also has some XOXO pieces, which are super cute, and I'll add a couple of those to the inside as well as a red heart. So I hope you liked my card today. I will have product links in the description box of this YouTube video as well as on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com, and there will be a coordinating blog post in the description box of this video. As always, if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn on your bell notification so that you'll be notified when I release new videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.